Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to another video. Today we are doing a J-11 against an F-15. Now what's interesting about that is the J-11 is going to be carrying the SD-10, the Fox 3 variant. And it's kind of an upgrade just to bring the J-11 up to the same standard as it would be in today's environment, where flankers are firing Fox 3s and the F-15 is firing the AIM-120C, which puts them at a level playing field-ish. And it allows us to see what a peer-to-peer engagement would be like between a flanker and an F-15. Obviously, at this level, even the smallest mistake could get you killed, so very small margins of error. And I just want to give a shout out to Muzzolo. This was his idea, his creation, to put the SD-10 on the J-11. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get started with the video. Alright guys, let's get going. So I'm in a J-11 and I've strapped 4 SD-10s, 2 ETs, and 4 R-73s to this thing. That's right, you heard that. That's 4 SD-10s to a J-11. Alright, so why did I do this? Why am I interested in putting an SD-10 on a J-11? So the main reason, I think, is because we haven't seen new red missiles in a very long time. And to get a red Chinese SD-10 is, especially the fact that it's a Fox 3, it's a very big thing. It completely changes the dynamic of a fight. The Fox 3 capability versus a Fox 1, it's a totally different scenario. Your survivability is so much higher with a Fox 3. There's a million reasons. Basically, what's happened is, you know, the ED buffed the AMRAAM, which is great. I think they should have, and I think they did a great job with it. However, now the AMRAAM can hit a target. It can reach out at over 55 to 60 miles and touch a target under the correct launch parameters. The R-27ER, it's got an effective range of like 20, you know, I don't know, 21 if you're really good, more like 17 to be honest. And what happens is it creates a situation where, you know, blue aircraft are like Mike Tyson beating up little 5-year-olds and like clubbing baby seals. And I'll be honest with you, I mostly fly blue, you guys know that, but it's not a challenge. Like, I want to be able to kill something and feel a sense of accomplishment, you know. If I kill a flanker, I should be like, whoa, like, I did something cool. It was hard and I did it. That's just not the case right now. Killing flankers, I almost feel bad. I'm dead serious. Like, when I kill a flanker, I got one on the server the other day, and I was like, oh man, that sucks. It's almost the same feeling as shooting down an A-10. Like, you feel bad. You're like, I had to do it, but it doesn't feel good, you know? And in this situation, we've given a Fox 3, we're going to give the flanker the tools necessary to fight a peer-to-peer engagement. China to US, US to Russia. Like, this is how it would go down. The SD-10 is a Chinese plane. The J-11 is a Chinese plane. Yeah, it should be a J-11 Bravo to have Fox 3s, but, you know, there we go, Fox 3. And let's start this fight. This should be a fairly even fight, I think. Let's start diving. So like I said, in a peer-to-peer engagement like this, I have to treat him with respect, the fact that he can reach out and touch me, and he needs to treat me with respect. My SD-10 will hit him if he doesn't defend properly. And so we are both, I think there's a bit of a pucker factor, you know, fighting a flanker with SD-10's Fox 3 capability. Here I'm recommitting. I don't want to lose too much altitude. I'm going to try to pick him up on radar again. Here we go. And hoping to get another missile off. Like, get a little closer, pull the nose up, and Fox 3, and we're diving again. Alright, so here we're going to continue to dive. I've been a little bit aggressive. I've stayed a little higher than I usually would. Definitely taking some chances here. There is 100% an AMRAAM coming at me. It's just TWS. And I don't have the notification yet, so I'm offset right diving. And that should be dragging any AMRAAM he's fired at me off to the right direction. And we're going to go ahead and start cranking left. Yep, there's the AMRAAM, as expected. Yep, coming from exactly where I thought it would. So now we're cranking left here. And it sounds like we're good. We're going to go ahead and recommit onto the bandit here. Whoa, another missile. It's okay, it's behind. We're good. Okay, and bringing it back around. I'm just constantly cranking. I think he fired another one. Right here. Okay, here we go. I got 2 SD-10s left. We're going to go ahead and lock them up right here. And Fox 3, that's 10 miles-ish. Fox 3. God damn it, I think that missile went stupid. It was a close launch too. Alright, so you can see how the Fox 3 capability allows me to fight in a very different manner. It's such an advantage over Fox 1. And it really, I would have been dead right now if it was Fox 1's only. I would have died a very long time ago. And I don't think it would have been fun. Okay, here we go. Here's the lock. Very close, well inside the MAR. That's a Fox 3. And I am off cold. And I would bet my ass that AMRAAM's going to find me. I bet you he's got one off. Yep, there it is. Sweet. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. This is why you don't get inside the MAR. Yep. Alright, we're getting out. Alright. Well, I'm out. Did we get him? Did we get him? I see something. Oh, smoke plume off in the distance. We got him too. Now that is a peer-to-peer engagement. We're both dead. Alright, that seemed like an even fight. Alright guys, so before we get to the Tacview, I kind of want to just talk a little bit. I want to be a little bit more clear about exactly what I'm saying in this video. I'm not trying to knock ED and say like, you know, they're trying to make the flanker look bad or something. That's not at all what I'm saying. ED has always appeared by their actions to want to make their modules better. And we've seen that with the AMRAAM, we've seen that with the A10 update that they're doing, the KA50 cockpit update. Like, they're always trying to make things better. The only thing I'm hoping for is that the flanker is down the road and they haven't reached it yet. Now, I've heard some rumors that maybe the Chinese and the Russians haven't allowed ED the opportunity to build these missiles. Like, they've specifically said, like, you can't. I don't know if that's true. I have no idea if that's true. I don't understand why the Russians wouldn't allow it, but the Americans would allow the AIM-120C to be modeled. There's a lot of questions with that theory. I don't know if it's true. I hope it's not, because if it's true, then we're kind of stuck here in a situation where the flanker will never really see updates to make it competitive with the NATO side. And again, I want to be really clear. I'm not asking for R27ER updates to make it equal to the AIM-120C. The R27ER compared to the 120C is not a good missile. It's 20 years old. Okay, it's just not good. I'm saying that since then, you know, the Russians have built new missiles. They've updated their R-77. The Chinese have made the PL-12. There's new missiles out there that give these flankers the ability to fight, you know, Fox 3 to Fox 3 peer-to-peer engagements. Back when they were firing the R-27ER, NATO only had the Sparrow. There was no AMRAAM yet. The AMRAAM was after the Gulf War, you know, like right after it. So I don't know. I guess I'm just saying, like, it would be nice if we started to see flankers that could, you know, compete with NATO aircraft and hold their own as they do in real life, because a flanker is a plane that should be respected. It was specifically designed to take on the F-15. I don't know if the F-15 is still a better aircraft. I think you could argue either way, but it's not like it is now. Like, right now it's almost like clubbing baby seals. Like I said in the video, it's way too easy to kill a flanker in the current DCS multiplayer environment, which is why you don't see a lot of people flying flankers anymore. Same with the MiG. Like, a lot of people don't fly the MiG, man, and they used to prior to the AMRAAM update, and it's just because they want to be competitive. They want to get kills. They don't want to just be sitting prey for these NATO aircraft that are going to come and, you know, shoot missiles at them from 40 miles, and they can't even fight back. So I guess in conclusion, what I'm saying is that it would be nice if we could get the flanker to a place where it's competitive. It definitely needs some upgrades in order to achieve that. Once again, I don't even know if ED is allowed to do those updates. If not, then it's a tragedy for all of us, because the flanker is an amazing aircraft, and honestly, if it could compete with an F-15 like it can probably peer-to-peer in real life, I would fly the crap out of the flanker. I really would. And I think the other thing to consider here is the fact that, like me, for example, I do have a NATO bias. I do like to fly the blue aircraft more. I enjoy the F-16, the Hornet, the F-15. But when I kill a red aircraft online or something, I don't get a sense of accomplishment for having shot down a Sukhoi or a MiG or something, because they can barely fight back, man. And I would like that challenge when I merge with a Sukhoi, or I, you know, get a spike on my RWR from a Sukhoi. There should be a bit of a pucker factor. You know, you're like, oh, like, I gotta get my shit together because this guy could kill me. You know, he's capable of killing me. Right now, it's not really like that. The Sukhois are so limited. Like, the effective range of the R-27ER, even at high altitude, is something like 20 miles. Unless the bandit just flies straight like a moron, you know, you're not gonna hit him. So, I don't know, I just feel like the flankers just need a little bit of... And again, I'm not asking for an ER update that makes that missile, because the ER is not a good missile. It should be the way that it is. It's not a good missile. But we need flanker updates. You know, we need flankers capable of firing, you know, things equivalent to the AIM-120C like in real life. I'm looking at the R-77-1, the R-77M. There's various other air-to-air missiles that have come out on the Russian side and the Chinese side after the 1980s, since the 27ER. So, I don't know, just my two cents, I guess, at the end of the day. I think it would just be nice to have a competitive red side. Like you see in this video, like, we both killed each other. Like, that is a true peer-to-peer engagement. You know, like, margins should be separated by seconds. seconds of, you know, a mistake or like a critical mistake. Honestly, if I'm fighting in an F-15 against a Sukhoi, I can make all kinds of mistakes and still get the kill. And I mean that in the sense that this is how it is right now. You know, it shouldn't be this easy to kill a Sukhoi. Anyway, guys, I think I got my point across. Once again, not trying to knock ED. I know they got a lot on their plate. And I just hope that flanker upgrades, technology upgrades to the flanker are somewhere down the road. That would be very nice. Until then, I think we'll just wait patiently and we'll see what happens. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get to the Tacview. Alright guys, let's do our Tacview review here. You see me sitting at a Mach 1.48, so almost Mach 5. I'm in the red J-11, and we got Vulture over here, blue F-15 sitting at about Mach 1.3. We're both at 40,000 feet, so this is going to be a pretty long range engagement. We are at 50 miles here, and that's about the first, yeah, here's the first launch, Fox 3, and Fox 3 from him as well. And so both of us are going to invert and start diving for the deck, and all we're trying to do is drag these missiles down into denser air. Now I recommit here because I'm like, I got a little bit of time. I'd like to get a second missile off at him. I'm also really fast, almost Mach 1.6. 1.5-ish. I'm like, all right, here's a second Fox 3. Now I'm going to defend. And you'll also notice the offset. Right, so diving down and offset. So you're dragging the missile. And we know that missiles have a finite amount of energy. It's not like behind enemy lines where, you know, missiles just, you know, infinite fuel. And so you can see here, once he's cranked a little bit, he's going to crank the other way. And so now this missile that's already had to pull a lot of G's to end up over here now has to use its finite fuel to now turn. And every time a missile turns, it bleeds energy. So this missile that came off the rail, let me delete this. So this missile that came off the rail for me is going to have to do this. And these are 1, 2, 3 turns pretty much. And by the time that missile reaches here to hit him, it's not going to have enough energy. Alright, and so his Fox 3 is off the rail. Let's switch over to me. I got my second one off right here. And so you can see I am diving as fast as I can, and I'm offsetting. Here's his AMRAAM doing a turn. You can see it losing tremendous amounts of speed. And once again, I'm recommitted, but I get the pipple warning from this thing, so I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to stick around. So I give it up, and I turn away. And you can see he does something very similar. So when we talk about peer-to-peer engagements, like, this is it. Okay, we are both struggling. There is a pucker factor for both of us in this fight. He's fighting a flanker, which is the Eastern Bloc's best fighter. I'm fighting the F-15, which is one of the Western Bloc's best fighters. Okay, so there's going to be pucker factor. Like, this is how it goes. If we were using the ERs, I wouldn't have been able to engage him for like until 20 miles. And at 20 miles, his AMRAAM has already hit me. You know? And so here is the next engagement. I'll address something else a little bit later. Like if we have the ER, you know, you can fight at a lower altitude. We'll talk about that. Here's my missile. This first one just went completely stupid. I don't know what happened to it. And the second one's tracking, at least sort of. He actually recommits here, just like I try to do, and then gets the pipple from the second missile and tries to go for the notch, and just decides that it's not worth it to recommit in this situation. Once the missile is on his 6 on his RWR, this is when he recommits. And by this time, I have also recommitted. And at this point, we are 10 nautical miles apart. So we're inside the MAR. Almost. We're maybe a mile. You got maybe a mile of playroom here. But for all intents and purposes, this is the MAR at this altitude is about 10 miles. And so he's got a Fox 3 off. I shoot one of mine, and I'm off, and he's off. He's trying to notch to get rid of that missile. I'm off cold, just because, you know, I want to be extra safe. And quite honestly, I would actually kind of call this a mistake. Seems the AMRAAM is not performing as well as it used to. Like, it would get a lot closer at 10 miles than we see here. So, problem here for me, I could have stayed hot a little bit longer. I could have broken off. If I'd stayed hot a little longer, this missile would have been more deadly. I could have been cold for less time, and I could have recommitted. And if I recommitted here, he'd still be trying to notch this missile. I could have killed him. Okay, but I didn't. I played a little too cautiously, and that actually costs me. Anyway, so you can see how we're basically like mirror tactics here. He recommits when I recommit when he recommits. And it's literally like fighting a mirror, like peer-to-peer engagement right here. Both Fox 3s. And so at 6 miles, well inside the MAR at this point. I mean, this is just ridiculously dangerous. But we both played very aggressively, and this is what happens. You know, we both should have probably come off this way, and me, instead of recommitting, I should have come off this way maybe, or right here, maybe done a loop around like this, and just try to keep this MAR, you know, because in this situation, we're both going to die. There's no point to that. And so I get my Fox 3 off, he gets his off, and mine hits him first, and you can see why. Like, he couldn't have even turned and run away. Even if he was full cold, that missile still would have caught him. It's going Mach 2.7, right? And his is coming in here Mach 2.8 halfway through the flight, and impacts me at about Mach 1.9. 1.7 is the impact. So, one thing that I said we were going to talk about is, you know, the flanker, if it was using the ER, it would fight differently against the NATO aircraft, and, you know, this whole story of fly differently based on your weapons technology and all that. Well, man, the fact is, even if you fly low, you're still kind of taking a chance. Like, here's the thing. If I was flying, like, let's say this was a server and I was flying over here somewhere, okay, and the mountain crevices, if he's just flying high and scanning into these crevices, he's gonna see me. Like, I'm taking a chance that he doesn't see me. If he sees me, it doesn't matter that I'm low altitude. You know, I'm still gonna get goofed on. Especially now, I'm really effed. You know, he's gonna fire down from 40,000 feet, AMRAAMs from like 30 miles out. I can't touch him from down here. I'm completely defensive. So the R-27 ER, in my opinion, I mean, obviously it's a 1980s missile. It's not competitive with the AMRAAM 120C. Like, we need something different if we want to keep Red competitive in this whole flanker thing. And that's really what this is. It's an attempt to show you, and I think a lot of people get a bad impression of the flanker, like they think it's not a good aircraft and all this other stuff. The flanker is a peer-to-peer to the F-15. Theoretically, I mean, I know there's some NATO bias and some red bias. People will think the flanker is better or the F-15 is better. I don't know, but, you know, they're close. They're close enough. Like, the F-15 is not wrecking flankers like this. Like, this is like beating, you know, 5-year-olds. Mike Tyson beating up a 5-year-old is essentially what it is when it's the ER. But you can see when you give the flanker, the Fox 3, you give it the weapons to fight, it is very competitive with the F-15. More than capable of getting the kills. It just needs the right weapons. And quite honestly, this is not a weird weapon to be putting on a J-11. It's an SD-10. It's a Chinese PL-12 export variant SD-10 on a J-11. Technically, this should be the J-11 Bravo in order to have the Fox 3 capability. But I mean, you know, if you want to keep the red side competitive, these are the things that need to happen. So, just my thoughts. You know, nothing crazy, just something I've had on my mind. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, guys. Bye.